I think we really do come together as a unit. There's a lot of trust. And when we founded the company, a lot of the goal around the foundation was around the team culture, and how we come together as a unit. I always think about everyone has a level of expertise, and we need to be leaning on those levels of expertise to help us grow the business. Now, whether that's a product side of things, whether that's business intelligence, whether that's trading, services, sales, there's a level of expertise. And let's have experts in each field be able to come together. And it's stuff like that that's really helped us grow, because we are able to build from the foundation. Culture, transparency, and trust was so crucial that it helps us grow on that foundation. And we're always looking back to make sure that is still the core fundamentals of the business.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today, we look at transparent communication and how that impacts your culture, how it impacts the performance of the team, and what it means to be the leader when you believe in transparency. Today's special guest is the founder and CEO of Keynes Digital. They made the Inc. list of 799% over the last 3 years growth. And Daniel Larkman and I talk about the power of transparent communication. I'm just having trouble getting it out. But transparent communication, a lot of people misunderstand it. It's not just about showing the numbers or profitability. There's many other elements to it, and you want to make sure you understand where your transparency line is, because the clearer it is, the more likely you are to stay in tune with that. But when you are open with your people, when you are building trust, when you are patient with them, you will learn that they will rally for you, and they will feel and approach the work like it's their project. It's their, like they take a sense of ownership behind it when transparency is there. So all that being in case, we talk about this with Dan today to detail, to really get an idea of what transparent communication means for us as leaders and as organizations that are in the midst of growth. My name is Gene Hammett. I am an executive coach. We have a leadership development company. And what we really are aiming to do is, as companies are growing, because we only work with fast growth companies like the Inc. 5000 and other fast growth companies, they run through challenges. They run through potential roadblocks and a bit of chaos, if you will, around people and around all of the things that are necessary to keep moving. What used to work no longer works. So we must evolve as an organization, as a culture, and our leadership must evolve. And that's what we help you do, is help you figure that out. One of the things I'd like to do is, if you're listening to this podcast, maybe you want to join us. If you are an executive at a fast growth company, you can go to coreelevation.com/virtual conversations. And those virtual conversations are, a topic that I get to define with my team. And we actually have virtual conversations with other executives. And so you can chime into this. You can participate. You don't have to participate, but you can. And if you're curious about what those things are, just go to coreelevation.com/virtual conversations. You'll find out what the next one is, actually the next two. And if they resonate with you, join us for those. And if not, you can subscribe and we'll let you know what the next conversation will be. So that's our big ask of you. If you want to take this to the next level and engage with us a little bit with other Inc. 5000 founder CEOs, just go to coreelevation.com/virtual conversations. Now, here's the interview with Dan. Hey, how are you, Dan?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. We're going to have a great conversation about transparent communication, what that really means, and how it impacts the growth of your company. Before we go into that, tell us about Keynes Digital.
So Keynes, we're a programmatic partner. We do predominantly connected TV, and we've kind of pioneered connected TV back in, we launched in 2018, that pre-HBO Max, it's now Max, that's pre-Peacock. And so really early to market on, connected TV, driving commercials via, on Wi-Fi devices.
Well, fantastic. I don't know much about this industry. Tell me a little bit about where it's going over the next few years.
I mean, where are we going? I love to look into the future. I think that what we're seeing is a lot of streaming services, and we've seen an influx of streaming services over the past, what we call it, 5 years. I think at the end of last year, we had an average of 5.4 subscriptions per household in the US. That number is increasing. I think when we last looked, it's about 6 per household. Over the next few years, my guess is we're going to see some level of consolidation. People aren't, prices have started increasing, which tends to mean people start cutting those subscriptions. Next step usually is a consolidation. I'd imagine that to happen, where we're going to see, these streaming services, the Hulus, the Disneys, those type of guys kind of starting to come together in under one. And then for us in the advertising space, we're just seeing growth. It's growing crazy in the connected TV world. Being able to actually, basically have any brand, no matter what size you are, being able to run on the TV screen now, rather than when we were young, it was you're only getting certain brands. You're getting the top tier brands. You're still going to see those, but you're also able to get smaller, everything from D2C brands who can now appear there, and they're not just relying on the Metas of the world and the paid search.
Well, I appreciate the insight into your world. Dan, you've come here because we study leadership. We study the fast growing companies out there, and Keynes was, on the Inc. list this past year, 799% 3-year growth. It's impressive, but you don't get there alone. You've got a team around you. So what is it within your team that makes you guys really perform at this level?
I think there's a few things. I think we really do come together as a unit. There's a lot of trust. And, when we founded the company, a lot of the goal around the foundation was around the team culture, and how we come together as a unit. I always think about everyone has a level of expertise, and we need to be leaning on those levels of expertise to help us grow the business. Now, whether that's a product side of things, whether that's business intelligence, whether that's trading, services, sales, there's a level of expertise. And let's have experts in each field being able to come together. And it's stuff like that that's really helped us grow, because we are able to build from the foundation. Culture, transparency, and trust was so crucial that it helps us grow on that foundation. And we're always looking back to make sure that is still the core fundamentals of the business.
Well, you said the magic words there. I know the episode is about the power of transparent communication. What is transparent communication for you? Because it's different for everyone.
For me, it depends which side we're going. If we're talking internally or to our clients, so break it into two. If I talk about to our clients, and ultimately the growth of Keynes is the growth of the partnerships that we have, right? The clients that we work with, those partners. For us, it's about, we've always said, everything we present is the good, the bad, the ugly, right? We're not here to show you how great we are. We're here to show you where we've tested, what looks good, what's working, but also what didn't work. That's also valuable insights to make sure you can steer away from that and towards it. And then as a team, it's all about, the foundation is all about trust, right? It's patient, because, we all need to be able to trust each other, but trust that we're all working together, being open with each other. That level of openness and communication has just been crucial in building the business. And I say that because for me, a crucial part of any business is about trust. And it's very hard to build trust. It's very easy to lose trust. So it's a case of, do we have things like radical candor in place where we're going to be honest with each other and we trust we've got the best interest at heart? When we grow, do we celebrate those wins together? Things that make us know that we trust and know that we've got each other's back throughout, just as an actual team and a unit. For me, that's where transparency comes to. You can't have trust without transparency.
Now, he's talking about radical candor here, and Dan really does have a point. You want to make sure that you're having these honest conversations with people. And Radical Candor is an incredible book, and I love it. But I also found that in a lot of our conversations with clients that they weren't really understanding how to actually have a candid conversation with someone. I call these tough conversations. Some people say they're difficult conversations, but we call them tough conversations. Well, we're writing the book about it, me and my wife, because it happens so often within our work and helping people grow and helping companies grow and helping people create unity across their culture and their teams, that these tough conversations are necessary and a part of it. And so you can get a free download. Just go to genehammett.com/tough conversations. And it's absolutely free to get the framework. And then you'll be on the lookout for the book when it actually publishes in a few months. First quarter of 2024 is our target. And look forward to sharing it with you. And as always, make sure you are really never avoiding these tough conversations. You're hitting them head on, but you're planning for them and you're doing them and learning from them and getting better at it. So that's my 2 cents. Go to genehammett.com/tough conversations for the free guide. And back to Dan. I can really relate to a lot of this. And really specifically, one of the tools I use inside my business is I encourage people to be remarkably transparent. I'm not going to tell you what transparent is because as a coach, I want them to define it for themselves, but I call it the transparency line. What is okay to share and what's not okay to share. Is that a clear distinction internally within your company structure?
Yes, I would say that for me, we're okay sharing most things within the company. We don't really have things that are off limits to talk about. And we kind of encourage people to ask questions as if they were business owners. If you were thinking about this as your business, what questions would you be asking? And let's answer them, right? And so it's about being open and honest with everyone. I actually think, often I would say sometimes we're not transparent and sometimes we're too transparent. The reason I say that is like sometimes you'll say something to someone that's an idea. We haven't even flushed this out yet. We're just kind of coming up with ideas, brainstorming. And I was thinking about this last week and it turns into this is happening. No. It was, like we're brainstorming. So sometimes I think we're maybe too transparent in certain areas. But for me, I'll say this every day of the week. Trust is really hard to build with people, right? Unless you have a relationship with someone, building trust is difficult. Losing trust can be 1 second. Omitting something will make someone feel like you're lying to them. I think if you're transparent, then at least people know you have their best interests and the best interest at heart at all times. And so that's how I kind of think about the level of transparency we offer.
Well, I believe in it so much that it's one of the core things that connects people to feel like owners in the business and really create a sense of oneness. You called it a unit, right?
Yeah.
A sense of when you think about that as a leader, how do you manage that? Like keep out things that get in the way of it, and then how do you encourage people to really think as one team?
I think it's setting up a structure where people are experts in the field that they're experts in. And that sounds obvious, right? But it's very easy for people to start making decisions for other teams of what they think is best. But if you have a team of people who have trust within, you're going to have a setting where it's, I know you know what's best for product. So I'm going to let you take lead on that. You're the best person in sales. So I'm going to let you take lead on that. You're the best person on client service. So I'm going to let you take lead on that. And that doesn't mean it's one person. It's a unit. So you're going to have the client service team as an overall, and you're going to have a lead within that who's ultimately making decisions for the team, but we're empowering them with that. But the level of expertise there is hyper-focused in the areas where they have that level of expertise. And making sure we're doing it that way. The biggest hurdle we've ever faced is when you start finding sales start telling accounts how to do that, or accounts start telling product how to do this. And it's like, well, we're now moving into this world where your level of expertise is less focused on the areas where you're an expert at and more an area where you're an expert at. And so it's making sure that we're all moving in the same direction. But I kind of use it, I'm British, so I do soccer references, kind of use it as your defensive team or the defense aren't telling your offense how to score a goal, and the offense aren't telling your defense how to defend. Right. So we need to make sure that we are that unit where we have those levels of expertise in their areas. And it's worked out really well. Having that focus, as it builds that trust, but also means that people have ownership over those areas.
I love the way you describe that. Dan, I know that you've gone through probably some inflection points in your own leadership, how you think about leadership, how you look at even transparent communication. Can you remember a time when you had to go through an inflection point with your leadership style or approach?
Yeah, I mean, I live by the thing that if I'm not making a mistake, I'm probably not trying hard enough, right? I know we've heard those type of, if you don't fail, you're not trying. I mean, I think you have a progression or an evolution of everyone's individual leadership style, and you see this. When someone becomes a leader, or in a leadership role, they start thinking more like, do it as I do. And it's more like, well, I can do it this way, so you should be able to do it this way. I think we've all had that moment. Yeah. You can see that growth in leaders when they move to that place of do it as you do it, and I'm going to try and help you do it better. And it's like, it's everything from the most basic things. Like, well, I like to write notes down, and this person isn't writing notes, so they're not paying attention. It's like, well, maybe that's not how they learn. And so it's my job to make you better, not my job to make you a carbon copy of me. And I think that's one of the things from a, I would say from a, when you talk about progression, I think we all have those level of progression. And the thing for me, which I think is, when I think about my leadership style is I've also always had a view that fear is not leadership. Having people follow you because they're scared not to is not leadership. Leadership is it's patience. Leadership is it's you lose a lot because all the losses of your team are on you and all the wins are on them. It's understanding those fundamentals. And I tell everyone, I was like, leadership isn't for everyone. And it's not the progression people should want. If it's your path, it's great. But if it's not, you don't want to be in a position where you're training, where you don't win. I don't remember the last time I won, right? I remember the last time my team won. And I remember the last time I lost, which was everything. But it's that type of mentality. And I think, really growing your own leadership style is I find it's more about understanding others and understanding yourself.
Dan's been talking about winning at leadership. I had one of our coaches, managers, if you will, going through our leadership development program. And he said this, he goes, I used to think that my job was to be the MVP of the team. And maybe that was at one point in time because he was a high performer. But then he realized after going through leadership development, his job is not to be the MVP. It's to create space and confidence for others to be the MVP in their work. Now, if you think about that shift, what does that do across the organization? Well, it's really incredible to see when leaders understand that they don't have to get all the credit, that they're actually building others, their skills and their confidence so that they can get the credit. And that is what winning at leadership look like. Back to Dan. Well said. I know we have something in common. I don't talk about it much here on the podcast, but I rarely get another martial artist in here. But you've got a black belt in judo and you've got a blue belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I've been doing jiu-jitsu since 2006. I feel like I'm getting closer to that black belt. Don't know when. What are the commonalities with what you've learned in the world of martial arts as it relates to growing a fast growth business?
I think there's two things. I think it's patience, confidence. I think are probably two of the most important things there. And I say patience in the sense of, I do think it's a crucial leadership skill is you need patience. You want to move fast, but if you think to a jiu-jitsu mat, you're going to be training with people, and we all know this. There's certain people you train with, and I always use the term are good stewards of my body. Right. The people that you train with where you're like, I'm confident you're not going to hurt me. And if you did, it was a complete accident or like a freak accident. Right. But I'm confident because I know that I trust that you're not trying to hurt me and I'm not trying to hurt you. And we can actually grow together. And you start losing that ego because it's like, I don't mind if you submit me. It doesn't bother me. I'm going to learn and I'm going to show you how I did this. So you don't let me do it again. So I have to get better at it. And it's that constant flow and progression. And I think that translates into business. I think that element of, my job isn't, no matter where I'm at, like whether you're the CEO of a company or not, your job isn't to be better than everyone around you. Your job's to help them be better and they help you be better. And when you have that type of relationship, things grow. Right? You have to get better. You can't be like, I'm really good at this area, so I'm not going to let anyone else know how. Let people know how, because you're going to have to start getting better at it. And they're going to have to. I think that type of stuff has made a big difference. So I probably annoy the team by referencing martial arts so much, as in how you would do it here. But I really think that your own progression comes from that element of, I want to get better, so I need to make sure you get better, so I get better. And that constant want to be better the next day and enjoy it is that flow that I really think as a lead makes a massive difference.
For those that are listening in here, I caught you off guard. You don't have a list of questions in front of you. That certainly wasn't something you prepared for, but I think you did a really good job explaining how leadership in martial arts requires patience and confidence and the nuance of it, because I think you're absolutely correct in us lifting up those around us. And I love the stories that you share. Daniel, as we wrap up today, growing a fast growth company requires the right people, requires the right kind of leadership. What else do you feel like it is besides patience and trust that you've harped on so much today, which I agree with? What else is missing in this conversation that really brings it home?
In regards to actually just growing the business?
Sure.
I think there's desire. That's a must. right? I think truly building a company that people believe in, I think is something that for me has always been the most important thing, right? And as odd as it sounds, the biggest compliment that I can take is that someone will work with Keynes or work at Keynes. Is the biggest compliment. I tell everyone this. The fact that you would trust in the company for a huge amount of your life, that's the biggest compliment you can give to me and to Keynes. And so I think that, having that level of drive, listening to people, listening to what the team really needs. I've always had this kind of mantra from the beginning, which is I want to make everyone who's part of Keynes' lives better. And it sounds like a lofty goal, but I'm talking clients. I'm talking any stakeholder, anyone at all a part of it. How do we make their life better, easier, smoother? And so when we're hiring people, what does that look like? When we're training people, what does that look like? How do we get people to a 4-day work week, right? That type of stuff, where the vision isn't, I've worked at too many companies where the vision's revenue focused. Yeah. And we're celebrating the revenue goals. Well, let's celebrate our own goals. Can we get to a 4-day work week? Can we move this industry forward, which we are? Can we build out some cool tech, right? Can we make it exciting for people? To grow a business, I think all of those things are needed to make people see the future vision, feel and act like owners, be part of it. So for me, I think those things are the crucial elements to really grow a fast-growing company.
Well said, Daniel. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and being with us here today.
Of course. Thank you so much. I appreciate the time.
Love this interview. Dan talks about communication and specifically transparent communication in a way that really helps you understand why it's so important. He talks about trust and patience. Hopefully you picked up on those things and really creating a team that is unified together. I think everyone listening into that was like, yeah, that's what I want. I want more of that. If you have a little bit, you want more. I know our team is fairly unified, but I'd love to have it even more unified. I'm sure you're the same. So if you're curious about what you need to do or what's in the way of your team feeling that unification that Dan's been talking about, I want you to reach out to us. You can actually join us in the virtual conversations that we have with other Inc. 5,000 founders and CEOs and executives. Just go to coreelevation.com/virtual conversations. That's the name of our company. And the virtual conversations is a way to engage with content with other peers like yourself. And we share some insights and wisdom for you. If the topics resonate, make sure you show up and put it on your calendar. Now, when you think of growth, think Think Tank. As always, live with courage. We'll see you next time.